Welcome everyone to the Adversity to Advantage podcast. I'm very excited today. In my living room, I have got Jo Johnson, who I met through a gong bath. Now, you don't know this, but that was my the first time I came, that I did a review on Instagram. I said like all this amazing stuff. That was the very first time I experienced a gong bath ever. So I've been on this recent journey of looking at holistic health and trying to manage the stress of entrepreneurship and of pushing myself on lots of limits. And I realized that the tools that I used to use, such as my brain, my drive, things like that, just weren't going to get me to the next level of success because my body was starting to feel the impact of it. And I lay on the floor as Jo did her magic. And I felt transported. I don't even know how else to say it. The first 15 minutes were deeply uncomfortable. And I'm explaining it because when I tell people, yeah, I did a gong bath on Saturday, they're like, sorry, what was it? The first 15, 20 minutes were deeply uncomfortable. I felt fidgety. I felt like, I felt, I was tearful. All sorts of stuff was going on. And then I had to sit through that point to like reach this other side, which was like, I'm going to sound cheesy, but like perfect clarity. It felt like the universe was just aligned, and all I could see, it sort of right-sized all of my problems to ones that were just like, oh, well, that's manageable, or that doesn't matter within the grand scheme of things. And of course, I've come since then, and I've experienced some other ones, and I've gone to do some shaman journeying and all sorts of things. Jo, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you. I'm excited, and like we were saying before we sort of started recording, there was an energetic thing. Like you saw some of my stuff, and I was just like, oh, I don't even know your full story, but I'm just curious, right? There was something there. So give our listeners an overview of what you do. So who are you? What's the business? What do you do?
So what I do is I work with sound it's kind of like a facilitator. So I facilitate people's journey, if you like, to empowerment. And everything that I do, it's because I've experienced it for myself. So I've lived the experience, and the journey, like you just told me, is not unheard of. I can tell you what that agitation was.
Yeah, please do.
Resistance. Quite often resistance. Not necessarily, but my understanding would be that agitation, that scary, fearful, because it pushes you to the edge of your fears as well.
And my theme of development at the moment, it seems, is letting go.
Yes.
Of old ways of working, of being, of like giving myself over to energy, the universe, stuff that I don't fully understand, but stepping into it. And then it felt like once I did, or maybe let go of the resistance, super uncomfortable at first though.
Yeah, it is. It kind of like, I mean, you have to be careful with it all. That's why I ask everybody, is it their first experience? And I send them to the website because it can be powerful. And I don't think sometimes people that are new will come straight to the front, and I will say, no, you need to go to the back, because it does bring all of this stuff up that you can be completely unaware of, because it's happening on an energetic level, and you have kind of have no idea or anticipate what it could bring up.
You do set it up really safely.
Get out of your way. You get out of your own way. And that's the point.
I know.
Because you know, on another level, kind of what you need to do. Because you're on this journey of, call it what, real self-realization or expansion or whatever it is that you need to do to get you where you want to go. And a lot of that is also being in control. And the gong and sound is very much about flow and allowing and releasing, and that space that sets you free is where all the answers are. But it happens on a frequency and on an energetic level. And I think I said it I'm sure I've said it in the class, or I say something, sometimes I talk too much. But what happens when you make an intention and you don't necessarily understand what's going on, but there is a shift going on, because that's why we work with intention. That's why I do the guide, and I work a lot with themes and concepts and ideas, because it's all to do with perception. And that's also because I'm trained in hypnotherapy. So I'm very conscious of words that we use, what we tell ourselves, the meaning we give it, because that changes everything. Words are so powerful. So that's why I use themes. And when I'm giving an overview of a theme I have to work with, I can list all of the areas, but I haven't got anything worked out. But I know that it will work out. So that's when nearer the time, I tend to write up. I have an overview, but when you put the energy out there, and because I work with the gongs, with sound, everything comes in alignment. So I don't really worry about getting stuck for information, because it flows, it comes to me.
That's the key thing, is this trust that you have.
Yeah, and you have to trust yourself, because you have sometimes, and that's why I also like to make the point about when you start to hear, the left brain shuts down, there is a harmonizing effect. So where you're a bit like fry, it brings you back into harmony in a way. So there's a balance and there's a rebalancing going on all of the time. And we're so out of balance with chaos energy around
so much
us
noise
right now. Too much noise. So this allows that thinking mind, the overthinking mind, the chattering mind, the monkey mind to stop. For a breather.
But interesting when we're so stuck in it. So the experiences since haven't been as obviously intense for me. I've been able to get into it a little bit quicker or easier, or trust the process, I think. I think the first one, not just that, but I was in this, like, if I'm even chilling out, I'm like actively working out, or I'm doing things to look after myself. They're all active, and cortisol, like my stress hormone, is still going up. So just sitting with myself, and that real truth that the wisdom is within us. It really is within us. But you've sometimes just got to sit there long enough, and the sounds just have this ability.
It's like, and you don't even know how or why, but our body is like a sponge, and our cells are like sponge, and it just takes the energy and the frequencies that it needs to bring us back into harmony.
And there's so much science behind some of this now. With neuroscience. They can like see the impact of sound and on our health.
It crosses with so much. It crosses with physics, astrology, as you know.
Of course. Quantum physics. This woman knows everything and does everything.
It all crosses with it. And there's actually quite a lot of so, like, for example, I went on a training, additional training about a month ago, and it was with somebody called Jens. His name's gone. Jens Jaeger. And he's part of the group that formulated planetary gongs. So, and he's from Germany. And just working with him and his assistant, who writes also books on sound healing, his name is he is a nuclear physicist.
Goodness, really?
And I met people that were physicists on the course, because they understand. One of my teachers in gongs is she's the main teacher, Sheila Whitaker, anyway. She's a violinist and she teaches, so she's a musician. But her assistant is a radiologist, so they understand how frequencies and energy work. So these are not daft people that are involved in this.
No.
They really understand. There's something happening on an unseen level that works with our bodies, because we are energy.
And there's more a drive for greater consciousness or something right now, like in the world.
The
is it?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's something in the air that's bigger than just the regular energy.
I mean, I get into things with flow. So this is default how I got into astrology. So it's not like looking at your star sign and what's happening this week. It's really looking about the planets and what they actually mean. Because when I was training, I started work, because there's a whole range of planetary gongs. So I started working with the planetary gongs.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever I'm sent, because I'm sent, that's where I go. And that's where I share the knowledge, because it's there to be shared. You know, it's not there to be kept for one person. It's there for empowerment. And so I just kind of see myself as a facilitator.
Sort of a conduit, or...
Yes, because what I realized as well is that, because I have the Reiki and all of that, I used to take on everything. Mm-hmm. And I used to want to fix the whole world.
Oh, yes.
But you can't. And because I would take it on, my energy would be depleted. But now I find with this sound therapy, they work as an instruction, so it doesn't affect me at all, because I'm not involved. So you can
give, but you don't take responsibility.
Well, it's not so much as a responsibility as taking on the energy of other.
Got it. Soaking it up.
I don't do that, because that's the sounds do that, and it reflects back.
How do you protect yourself? Or how have you learned to protect yourself from, because the energy's all around still, right? Especially in a city, there's people everywhere, there's toxic energy.
To be quite honest with you, it's more of an awareness.
Okay.
And I speak a lot to myself, so I make a decision that I'm not going to take on that energy.
So you get conscious about it.
Yeah, so when you even voice this, the energetic stuff means that you don't take it on, because you've made that announcement.
This thing about intentions is so powerful, and I sometimes get confused. You're talking about language, about the right intention or the right way of phrasing an intention, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. My intention might be that I want to meet a partner, or that I want my business to thrive, or we did an abundance theme, didn't we, last Saturday? But is it ego? Is it soul? Like, what am I? And maybe I'm overthinking it. I need to just be in the places of flow. And that's when the appropriate...
I don't overthink ego as well.
Okay.
Because sometimes I too am confused about what that word is.
It's a weird line, right?
Yeah, because, and sometimes I think that can make people fearful of being individuals.
Who might know what they want. I feel like I know what I want, or even where the direction I'm in.
Yeah. So you just have to find a balance about how to make it work for you.
Okay.
I know that I'm doing the work that I'm supposed to be.
You feel it?
It's not even something I have to think about.
Okay, well, let's pause there. Let's go back, because now you live and breathe this stuff. You can see that it's just in every pore. Your wisdom just comes out in every way. You have so much knowledge, education, and experience of this stuff. So it just comes out of you. You live it. What brought you to this place? So we were talking before we went on about, growing up in Peckham and going into fashion, and tell us a little bit about that journey that brought you to this.
So my background is, as I was saying earlier, I was a bit dippy, because I was always in another world.
Dreaming, yeah.
And I was always told to focus, to stop, and I think I ended up getting ignored quite a bit, from school, because I didn't quite fit in.
Yeah.
But I knew there was more out there, because I was constantly looking up to the planet. I was constantly looking up to the stars and being fascinated by the unseen, if you see what I'm saying. And I was always sensitive.
What do you mean? Like feelings? Would your feelings get hurt?
I would sit, that as well, but I was always sensitive to energy, and I was always aware of things that my siblings weren't aware of, like going on in the house.
Sure. You could sense stuff.
Overwhelmingly. So, and energies, and I could sense it all. I could sense it all, and I'd hear things that nobody else was hearing, and I'd see things that no one else was.
Was there any language in your culture or family around spiritualism or any of the stuff?
We grew up going to church.
Okay.
But having said that, I'm not religious.
Sure.
Because I just see it as, for me, as containment of dogma in one way or the other, and that's not really for me.
Yeah.
But I understand what it gives people if that's their choice.
Some people want containment, don't they? Or some truth.
They need to believe in order, because sometimes that's what gives you life, is to understand and to have a greater purpose and to see the meaning of this, that and the other. So I'm not going to take that away from people. It's just not for me.
Sure.
Partly because I experienced so much and I grew up being quite religious. Don't do that. And then I just said, no, this isn't
right and wrong. It's very linear.
And it was selective about, it's too selective, and then it was inhibiting, and it was you couldn't think for yourself. And I know that I'm a free thinker. So I ended up being in my dreamy self. I was also very sporty.
Okay.
I was always head captain at sports team and things like that. Yeah. Although I wasn't particularly athletic, but I was sporty. But I did things like gymnastics and trampoline, and outside of that I was doing yoga. I was really
from a young age, you said 14 or so. Yeah.
So that was in the
did 70s. You intrinsically just know that your body needed to move and something was useful in that for you?
Yes, I think it was to do with the energy of movement and that connection to whatever else is around. And I did martial arts as well. I did martial arts from when I was about 14.
Which is quite a discipline, all this stuff, too.
Yeah, it is.
Help you understand
I grew
yourself.
very disciplined. I became very disciplined, but I became very disciplined. So even though I went out and snuck out and did all of the things you did, I did all of that. Yeah. But I had another side where I was very disciplined in my mind and what I was putting out there and creating, and
just like your personal development started young.
Yeah, because that's what I resonated with. And so the martial arts I did, and it gave me focus, and I think it's given me the focus that I have today, more so than yoga.
Interesting. What kind of martial arts?
I did wushu kwan.
Okay.
Which was Chinese kickboxing.
Nice.
And it was because I was a bit of an oddball at school, I also could see that there were whispers about me and that type of thing. But when I actually started doing martial arts, you carry yourself differently and everything changed. So that energy of reflection changed everything in terms of how you carry yourself, because you walk with more confidence, and it's not deliberate, it's not forced, it's not something that you think about, it's something that is innate, that happens when you start to attune your mind and your body.
It's quite meditative.
Yeah, it was incredibly meditative. I used next day I would go to school covered in bruises, and I haven't got a clue how I got them.
Oh my. Teachers would ask a few questions.
Well, they didn't pay any mind back then. I just carried on. I thought, I just, because you just used to get bruised from training. That was so. But
you feel alive, and strong. Yeah,
it was incredible.
Yeah,
in fact, I did stop when I went to design school because I wanted to become a designer.
Of course, you've lived like 25 lives.
And when I was 18, and I was kind of glad in a way, because it was getting a bit painful. And I was going for my black belt, and it was getting a bit painful.
Yeah, you're like,
but where I stopped, my brother took over. He started doing it, and he's been teaching it maybe for about 35 years now. He's a 6 Dan, and he's really.
This is so interesting that you're saying this, because I've always had an interest in a martial art or kickboxing, and I've always done the gym version of kickboxing. They do
No, this was hard.
Chinese. And I'm just thinking, I'm looking for something maybe to commit to as a practice. And certainly, yoga feels good, but it doesn't feel like my total soul connection, Anyway, so this is sparking me to be like, maybe there's something I should explore.
I'm going to take you on a journey.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went and did design, because that fed my creative side, even though I was very sporty, but I was quite happy to leave it all, you know, and it was fashion, so it wasn't a dumb thing you do. Martial arts, it's more music.
It's very eclectic.
Beauty. Really,
all the
really
stuff
eclectic.
Yeah.
And you're around the innovators of that time, because that was the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So that was when all of the real, I mean, Bananarama, I remember one of the girls was in college. There was a few people that went on to do all of this creative stuff in that, and it aligned very much with music. And so I did that for a while, and I did that for about 12 years or so.
Okay.
And I had a stall in Covent Garden for a while, number 38 in the Apple Market.
Really?
And I did a few musicians. So you can still see my stuff on YouTube if you
really.
Okay. Yes, I made a lot of suits, and I even made Paul Weller a jacket as well. I did.
So do you think music was a theme for you at this stage?
Always, I think so.
What did it give you as a young person, a young adult? What was the value of music to you?
Well, music growing up in that era, it was very American influence, but it was very innovative soul music. It was very jazz orientated. It was very Philadelphia. It was very, you know, it was, and that's my favorite music now. I can just listen to music, and as long as it's got that jazz funk, like Roy Ayers and all of those people from that era, you know, that were on that vibe of just pure music, Earth, Wind and Fire, that was my youth,
right? Yeah,
that was my youth, that type of music. So it was really, really creative music that was just music that fed the soul.
Did you feel that you belonged, or that you fit in now within this world?
Yeah, because I don't really care.
Okay.
I don't really care. So you know, you do what you have to do. So you just, and that comes to what I was telling you earlier, which I'll get on to.
Sure.
So I did fashion for a while, and then but I needed to exercise, so I kind of went back into exercise.
Okay.
And when I left the whole fashion world, I had a daughter as well, and when she was about 2, I went back into training and exercising.
The same type of training?
No, I did. It was like in the Jane Fonda era.
Oh, I love that.
And I did
Don't forget to
aerobics,
yes.
and I did all of that. And I taught exercise for about 12 years.
Oh, you taught exercise? Okay.
Yes, and I went into, but mostly in adult education. Sure. I didn't do it in centres and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I liked the I liked the educational side of it, so that people, you know, would get the understanding of the importance and that. And I did that for about 10 years or so, and actually for the last 6 years I absolutely loved it, but I knew it was time to move on. And I worked mostly with the elderly.
Okay.
And they were the nicest people ever to work with, because they really value their help by the time you know. So I worked around a lot of groups. So there were different groups, like they might be a Muslim group, or Irish group, or West Indian group. So I just moved around communities, just teaching exercise, and a lot of it was chair bound, and you know, just to get people moving their bodies. And I loved that freedom that it gave me, and also the educational side of it, because it was also lesson plan. You had to produce everything, and you had to show results, because it was in the adult education side of it.
So you were essentially working for...
I worked for local government. I worked for Southwark, Lewisham, Chelsea, Kensington, Greenwich. I just moved all over. And driving all over and just teaching and subbing for other people and what have you. And I did that for a good 12 years or so. And in that time, what happened after that? There's so much to say.
I know there's so much to say. Well, I guess I'm interested in your catalyst moments. So like your own rock bottom points, your own points that then like have led you to like bringing all that together into this new lifestyle.
Okay, so when I taught for so long, I actually got bored of it, and I knew I wanted to go into alternative therapy.
Okay, so that already had a pull for you.
Yes. So what happened was, I didn't have a sports science degree, so I went and did a sports science degree.
Of course.
I did sports science, but I did courses building up to that so I could get into it. I'd had other trauma around that as well before, to do with property and stuff like that, and I needed the distraction, if you like, and so I went and said, you know what, I need to get my head right and focus on something that is constructive for the future, because I had a small child as well at the time.
Okay.
And so I did sports science, and the course that I did allowed me to also explore alternative therapy. So while I was doing that, and towards the end of it, I trained in massage, I trained in Reiki. So this is going back 20 years now. I trained in all of that stuff. And then when I finished,
stuff is astounding. Like when I talk to you, I'm just like, what? Oh, you're into that. You know that. Yeah. And
when I finished that, and I was also doing corporate fitness by the time. So, in the Canary Wharf, I was also doing
city.
Yeah. And so. But by the time I finished my degree, I'd had enough of all of the science and everything. It was like overload on too left brain stuff. So I got this job, and it was running. Well, it wasn't running. I came in as assistant, but I did become manager of a facility for a local government, and it was a theatre, and it was a place of hire. And so I fed my creativity. I needed to rebalance my left brain. My right brain, and that was so I kind of let go of all of the teaching, and I did the massage alongside the theatre work, because it was very creative, and it also fed the alternative medicine side.
It feels like your whole career has been quite intuitive. Like you get a feeling that your time has run out, even though it still feels good. That was really interesting how you described doing the fitness stuff, and you're like, it was still good. There was nothing like horrifically wrong, but I felt like my time was done, I think you said. And then you just go you follow your curiosity rather than have this 10-year plan or anything like that.
No, because I think what happens is when you start to tire, you project that energy, and I didn't want to be tired for people.
You're becoming drained or exhausted physically?
I just didn't know where else to take it, so I felt I had to let go and move in a different direction.
So you can't push yourself much further in that area. You feel like you've learned what you need to learn, or done what you need to do.
Something is showing me something else for the next stage. So I very much move into the unknown if need be. It was like, well, that's what you need.
You just feel it, and then because I've left jobs where my now ex-husband would be like, how did you leave? Why did you leave that job before you had the next one? And I was like, it was oppressive and toxic. He's like, what are you talking about? Right? And I was like, I just felt that if the longer I was there, it was going to affect my energy. And I've fought long and hard to find my energy, and I've been suicidal and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, that's more important than the job. Like, I've got to follow the thing, right? And so I'm hearing that a little bit in you as well. It's like, let me just feel it out and see.
Yeah, because the teaching allowed me freedom, and I would, it was, but this was more of a structure. The theatre I loved because there was no order. I'd be working late nights, early. I didn't care. So long as there was no 9 to 5. I'm just not
the entrepreneurial.
I'm just not a 9 to 5 person.
Yeah.
So I took it upon myself to work full-time for a full-time position come up, and actually that didn't suit me at all, and I was pushing and pushing and pushing. That's when I got ill, because I wasn't following my spirit.
Wow.
And my body was starting to shut down.
So you were doing the shoulds. I should have this job.
I was doing it because I'd recently also bought property, and so you have to pay the mortgage, and I had a small child, and so you have to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you've got to be responsible.
So, and also I was it was demanding because I was the manager then, and there wasn't a lot of support, and it was oppressive, just as similar. And I knew that something was going to give, and I remember saying to myself, I just need time out. I just need some time out.
And your health gave.
Within 3 months, I was given time out.
Oh, I got the chills. Mm-hmm.
A year.
Oh.
Because I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Right.
And when that happened, I just left everything. And
because you do.
I could as well, because I could be off sick, and so I got the mortgage paid and all stuff like that. So when that happened, it was about self-care now. So I did so much.
Do you remember the moment that you were diagnosed, that the doctor said you have breast cancer, like what that meeting was like?
Yes, I do. I remember exactly what it was like when I went to the hospital, and when I was told what it could be, and then the extra tests that they were doing.
What was the feeling? What do you remember about your internal dialogue when all that was going on?
I was thinking, but I don't even know anyone that's ever had cancer, and I'm so healthy.
Yeah, you led an active...
Yeah, and I was a vegetarian, and I was all of this stuff.
Were you angry?
Yeah, no, I didn't become angry. I didn't become
As in,
angry.
like, we can get the stages of grief, so to speak.
Yeah,
why me?
No. For some strange reason,
okay.
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I just felt that early on, I'm going to be shown stuff. So, because even my mum, I think my mum said it to one of my siblings, you don't see her complaining about anything. And she was going, because I just didn't complain. I don't know whether I think it was pitying or whatever, I don't know, but I never sort of like ranted, why me, or anything like that. I just thought, well, I've got to get through this.
Right.
So that was my mode, is like, well, I'm going to have to get through this. I'm going to see this through, because I've got to come out the other end now.
You have a choice.
So I have to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about, I didn't have time to dwell on what, I just didn't think that way. And so I started doing all this research about it. And because I was already an alternative person, I was doing all this research, and this research was not, it wasn't, it was unsupported. It was, where do I go for this support?
There's so much out there.
There's so much out there. And at the time I just needed help now. And because when you're a helper, you don't necessarily ask for help. So I was a bit like that. I thought, I want to save the world, but no, it's okay. So I was a bit like that. And actually going through the process, I met most of the women were like that. No, I'm fine. So they were mostly carers, and putting themselves last.
What a powerful lesson.
So that was putting yourself last most of the time. And not knowing how to accept help,
So even if you got desperate and requested it, the receiving it could be tricky for people in that habit place of just giving.
Before, but at the time I embraced the
You
help.
had no choice. You sort of needed it.
I just thought, partly because I also I just wanted to rest. I just wanted to stop. I just wanted to rest. So it was a case of, okay, the doctors are offering this. And so I just took it as far as I could, but then I stopped the treatment, because for me, I know some people do okay, but for me, I could literally feel my spirit shutting down. I felt I was in close.
With what? Things like chemo and traditional treatments?
I did chemo, but I didn't finish it. And I had surgery, and that was fine. And, and I had the chemo, but I couldn't complete it. I couldn't see properly. All sorts of things were happening.
Yeah.
So I was just so sick the whole time.
Do you now, in reflection, think that your lifestyle or stresses had an impact on getting cancer in the first place?
Yes, something happened, because also we go to lots of talks, and one of the talks was how you can chart back when you have a diagnosis. In particular, I was looking at breast cancer, what happened 18 months ago.
Wow. And
I went to and I listened to somebody, I can't remember his name, and it was to do with the heart. And mine was right here. And I know exactly what happened.
Do you?
Yes.
There's an actual event.
Yes.
That you think.
Yes. It was me saying, I've had enough of my heart being broken.
My curiosity is like, because I relate to that so much. Like, I've done Reiki recently, and there's a lot in like the heart and the walls that we put up, and that feeling of like, I don't think my heart can take any more breakage, and that consistently. What can I ask? What was it? A breakup? It
was a breakup, and it was like and I just because I'm sensitive anyway, so it was just like, okay, I'm done.
Interesting. So you could sort of track back 18 months ago, and then you feel like the cells or the energy or something is then
I knew what it was.
Right. And so it sounds like you had I want to say positive mindset. I'm sure it wasn't like consistently like, oh, everything's going to be okay. But you have this like determination, I should say, that you have to get through this.
Well, I remember actually that's when I would get, that's when I also developed a bizarre sense of humor.
Oh, so, coping strategy, perhaps?
Yeah, probably. But also, but it was more about, I don't know, it was more about the wisdom of the experience in a way, because you knew people felt sorry for you, but then I'd smile secretly because I knew that they weren't promised tomorrow either.
Oh, you're like, you think you've got the last laugh. This can happen to anyone.
Not this could happen. You don't know what could happen to you tomorrow.
None of us know.
And since then, people have died that thought that they would outlive me.
That's a profound lesson in itself.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's not. So that was where I thought, okay, I've just been shown my mortality, and I'm closer to understanding maybe what that means. And so I just found, and also because I rejected a lot of stuff, you have to walk through your fears of potential death anyway, because you're choosing, I can't do that path, it's going to kill me. I can't do it, so I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So you have to walk that path of fearlessness anyway. So that was another reason why I had a sense of humor, I think, because I just thought, hey, we're going to all die anyway.
Right.
That thing.
What choices have you got in that situation? Sure.
Yeah. But in that time, I realized, being away, that if I don't feed my creativity, I don't want to be back here. So you need, and that creativity is being who you are, following what you need to do in life, and no longer accepting what people tell you to do or what you think that you should be doing. So I stopped.
No time for bullshit or other people's opinions.
No.
Just done.
No, and done with it all.
Yeah.
And so, but in that time, what happened when I was recovering, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. By the end of the year, my mother was diagnosed with cancer.
I'm getting the chills of this conversation.
So I ended up being the only survivor. But in that time, my mother got to know, because I'd gone through the experience, the spiritual side, and so I was fearless of talking with her. My dad was scared of it all, but my mum, she was open. So I would say things, and also because I'd learned the dietary, a lot of stuff, and she had pancreatic cancer, which kills you so quickly. She lasted more than a year. But and then there came a time when she said, I've had enough. But I knew that time would come, because I always had dreams and strange things anyway. And there was a time when both her mother and her sister came to me and said, you've done, let go now. We're going to take over. And so I knew that she would be saying at some stage, I've had enough. When she said that, that's when I told her. I knew that I was told to let go, because I was trying to make her healthy and follow. But she just wanted to do what the hell she wanted, and enjoy life.
Sure.
To do.
Yeah. So had you come through your cancer? So you essentially were in recovery when your parents were diagnosed? Yeah.
Yes, both of them. Yeah, both of them. And other people as well.
So you're then dealing with grief. I have to say, it's like you come through one thing and you're like, yes, victory or whatever. Yeah. And then you go through the grief train. Yes, but I have
to tell you as well, it's harder, from my experience, it's harder being on the outside in, looking in. So even though I've had cancer, because I was so quickly on the other side of being watching somebody that has cancer.
Trying to care,
that's tougher.
Because you're powerless?
You're powerless, and I know the journey, and there's nothing you can do.
So you gotta let go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you watch someone else suffer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enormous. Yeah.
Which is very painful.
Yeah. So what also, but it didn't stop there, because when my dad died, because I as I was saying to you before, I get a lot of information. So I was very clear when my dad died, because I don't see things, but I sense things. I'm very sensitive to stuff.
Do you mean you weren't with him at the time, but you felt it?
Somebody told me, and then I phoned up and spoke to a cousin, and I had to hang up at one point because I knew he was there, and he was talking to me.
As a spirit, on the other side,
Yes. So I could see. So one of the things he told me is, "So you're going to be absolutely fine." So, and then I picked up the phone and I carried on the conversation. Oh, my dad just said this, that, and the other. and then my mum died. She died a year later, almost to the month.
Yeah.
And that was a profound journey as well, because she was well known in the community, and she was one of these carers and helpers, and she was really well known. So her funeral was absolutely massive, impeccable, and but it wasn't until about, maybe she died in 2008, and in 2011 what happened was that I was sleeping, as you do, and then I had this amazing dream, and this dream was, on the right-hand side, if I looked up against a wall, a blank wall, I could see everything from my childhood. Fairies, cartoon characters. I could even hear the Daffy Ducks, and I could hear everything. And as I thought it was appearing on the wall. And it was like, I can't explain it. It's almost like a mystical, like children's thing, where it's all make believe, and everything that you thought would appear on the wall. Yeah, like fairies and lights and everything. And I suddenly thought, oh God, I wonder if my mum's here. And then I looked to my left, and my mum's at the end of the bed. She's at the end of the bed in my dream, but it's very lucid.
Sure, she's there. Yeah.
So she's at that point I'm saying to her, "Where have you been? How are you?" Because obviously she passed away.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Blah, 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 blah. And she kept on saying, no. She was fobbing me off, as if to say, "You're not supposed to know." So, and I still kept on asking the questions, and as I was asking her more questions, she kept on stretching out towards me with her hand, and as if to say, because I could see every vein, every blood vessel, as if to say, "I'm alive." And so I saw that, and it also, she was distracting me from asking too many questions, I think. So, and I could hear footsteps coming up the stairs, and at that point I thought, oh God, somebody's going to see what I do. Can you just hurry up and tell me, please? And then somebody opened the door, and it was my brother, and I said, "Did you see that?" And then he looked at me strange, and I looked down, and there was a teddy bear in my arm.
Oh my goodness.
Then I woke up.
Yeah. And
then I woke up. Now, the next night, she came to me again, but this time it was like Peter Pan. Is it Peter Pan? And you grab your hand and you go on a journey in the sky.
It never grows up.
Yeah.
Peter Pan. Yeah.
So she grabbed me like Peter Pan and took me on a journey. And she took me to what was like a cave. And I can see the cave now as clear as day where it was. And there was a slab. And there was a body, but I knew it was a body, not dead, but I knew it was somebody lying on this slab. And there was somebody in front, and they had a guitar, but I think it was the kora, the African kora. And they were listening to the body going up the body and tuning
the body.
Yes, with the guitar.
Yeah.
So they were listening and then they were tuning as if they were listening, so but doing it in alignment and tuning the body with the sound of the chord of the guitar and moving up the body. And then I thought, what the hell is this? I didn't understand. And then I realized, it must be some kind of healing, because my mum knew that I was into healing. So the minute I got that, I was wafted away somewhere else as well, to a massive cave. And in the distance, somebody was playing this, what looked like in the old films where they bang the gong in the middle. And except they weren't banging it in the middle, they were tapping it and playing it around the sides. And I thought, I don't know, what okay, it must be something to do with healing or something or the other.
Yeah.
And then I woke up again and I started researching on the internet, tuning the body, guitar on the body.
This is what I love about you, is like, some people would be like, oh, let me tell my girlfriends about that crazy dream I had, right? And you're like, it means something, let me get on the internet, let me figure it out, right?
Well, it was so clear.
It's like a clue for you.
Yeah, it was so clear.
Yeah.
So, and then when I looked on the internet, I saw tuning forks. And I saw that they were very ancient, and that's what I thought, this must be this, because you're going up with the forks and you would tune instruments with the forks, so you're going up the body with the tuning forks. And the minute I got it, and this is how I knew it was it as well, I found a gong.
What do you mean, online? Like you saw an image of one?
I saw what the big thing was, and they were indeed playing it around the sides. I never knew anything to do with sound therapy until I saw it all.
So you had the dream, you researched, and it just made sense. And then you began your training.
Within 48 hours, I was studying.
I love your impulsivity as well.
Within 48
it's like when
hours,
you know, though, right?
I was studying it.
Yeah.
The information blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because it crossed with sacred geometry, the planets, the earth, us, vibration, quantum physics, metaphysics, astrology, so much. It crossed art, science, it crossed with everything. Ancient history, ancient knowledge, wisdom, shamanism, everything was there.
Yeah.
And so I finished the course. 6 months it took me, and I left it alone for a while because I went back to my job as well. I was working. Working. So and then I was dipping in and out while I was doing this job, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to train alongside my job. And I went back part-time. I realised I couldn't do it full-time. And I trained in aspects around tuning forks. So I was dipping in and out and doing further training until I knew I could leave my job. I retired early from my job, and I went straight back into where I'd left. I also there came a point as well where I'd done all the training, I was working. I got a new job within the facility. You can't get much more grounded than a library manager. I was a library manager for 2 years because I work in the community. And in that time, I stopped everything. I said, no, I need to stop everything, and I learned to dance.
But what I'm hearing is it's that you said, I have to have creativity in my life.
I learned to dance, and I realized because of the work that I was doing, I needed to be grounded. I needed to be really grounded, and the type of dance that I was doing was it really connected you as a woman and your sensuality as a woman, and it was beautiful dance. It was kizomba, which is like Angolan tango. So, and I really need, and it was about not feeling, not feeling that you have to be in control. And when you no longer feel that you have to be in control because it's a male-led dance, that's when you're in control, because you don't need to be in control.
Mic drop. That's the most powerful thing here. Letting go. When you don't need to be in control, that's when you're in control. And obviously your whole life now revolves around this type of work, right? The gong bath, the Reiki, the astrology, just you fully submerge yourself into this wisdom. What has it given you? Like, how do you feel about your life now compared to before? Well,
I'm definitely following instruction. I feel like I'm instructed to do this.
Into the source.
Yes, so I know that I'm guided, so I don't really worry about anything in that way.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'll always be supported, because it's a case of I have to be doing this work, and I know it's kind of ahead of its time, if you like. It's getting more popular, but what I don't want to do, because when my daughter was about 2, I was very into health, and that's when I got into raw food. And that was about 30 years ago. And I even got into like the training courses of some of the things, and I didn't follow it through because I didn't want to be different. So I'm not doing that anymore.
Not that you're. What are you not doing?
I'm not being scared of what people think. Of being
different.
So you have to embrace who you are, follow your spirit, and just do it. So everything that you hear me say, I make it up. I create it.
Yeah.
And it either resonates with people or it doesn't.
And that's okay.
That's perfectly fine.
You have this trust that your message in the world is going to resonate with the people that need to hear it.
Yes. And it's all about them being empowered, so that they are empowered. It's not about me,
doing it for them.
No. It's not about any codependency or anything like that. I don't want anything. It's a
tough lesson to learn when we're in these.
Yeah, so it's about resilience, in that you have to have self-belief and faith in the ability to change things. And also because another reason why I work with so many different things and intention is because we're so sidetracked with overload and monkey mind and
even now in the self-development scene, everyone knows the 5-step plan or the 3-step thing and is telling you
what it is. I ignore it.
Well, exactly. Like I'm starting to not. It's too much noise. I
used to, when I was decided to leave my job, I thought, I better go on this marketing, this thing, and spend a fortune. And I thought, I can't follow that.
Everyone's saying something slightly different. Everyone has the answer, and it just becomes like you're being pushed and pulled. Right, exactly.
And I just said, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
This isn't working for me, and it's not the way I want to follow. It's not the way I want to. Energy just works in a strange way.
You just need to align to it.
Yes.
Your energy.
Say, for example, because I'm a bit with social media, because it's one of those, you've got to kind of do it. So say, for example, it was about a year and a half ago, I was talking to my sister, and I was saying, I really can't bear all this social media stuff. I know you've got to do it. And okay, so I just got to do it, but I'll do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And to get these likes, that like. And what happened the next day, I went to a market. Okay, it was Lewisham Market near where I live. And there was this, and it was January or February, and there was this girl, she was singing, and she blew my mind. And I recorded her, and I put her on my Facebook page. And then I got a few likes from people that I know, but then my cousin said, can you change the setting so I can share this? And so I did it so everyone can share it. Do you know, last year it was on ITV because she got more than 1 million views.
Really? Through that?
Yes.
Clip. Oh my goodness.
And I was credited.
Were you? Oh.
Do you see how energy works now?
Yeah.
You can push it away and something happens. Now, I knew at the time, although I'm sharing this, because her voice is a very powerful healing voice, I knew that that's what she was sharing.
You felt
so it was a healing energy where January, February, everyone was beaten down and depressed and everything. And I knew that that's what people needed to feel. So I just shared it and it just went ballistic. That wasn't any intention.
Yeah.
That just happened, and I don't know
It's just alignment.
Yeah.
So I've got two final questions because we're coming to the end of our time, but I feel like I want to get you on again because we could go down so many rabbit holes here about healing and the journey that we can each go on. First of all, where can people find you if they want to work with you or find out more?
Okay, so my website, which is www.jojohnson, spelled Johnson.com. So Johnson is Johnson, so it's JOH. I know this is confusing.
We'll put it in the notes as well to make sure people can get it. JOHNSON.com.
And or you can text me because I do a lot of work through texting. Cool. So that is 07958 34 888 and also I'm on Instagram, Jojo60, and I work at You Come to Zen Yoga in Camberwell, so that's always on Instagram, and that's also on my website.
It's amazing.
And and I'm also at the Lodge space as well, which is where I do all the astrological stuff.
Which is Canada Water?
That's at Canada Water, and yes, just contact me.
Perfect. Good. And so finally, if people like me maybe 6 months ago are in the early stages of their journey to the holistic health, and I mean that for a mind, body, you don't necessarily have to have cancer or be in that extreme position, but you just are, there's something in your energy going, there's something more, I want to nurture that. Where should people start? So think of the slight cynic who's just kind of stepping into this sort of thing.
Well, I would invite them to come to a gong bath, but be with an open mind.
Right.
It's not, we overcomplicate things.
That's
and we
true.
try to look for reason and explanation about how things work. Sometimes it just does.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a plug, and you unblock the plug and then something flows. I don't know what the ingredients of the stuff that I put down the plug. It just worked anyway. So it's just about having an open mind and just being, because having an open mind allows you to receive, because when you don't have an open mind or not willing to try,
that resistance thing happens, right?
Yeah, you get resistance, and you just get more of what you kind of like. That's your focus. So it's just really being open and trusting that if you're curious about something, tune into your gut and just allow for the answers and take your first reaction about what it is. Don't overanalyze. Don't try and make sense. Things don't necessarily make sense. Otherwise there'll be no mental health issues.
Right.
So, you just have to take a chance and try things. And gongs and what it does for people, what I see, what it does for people, it's just amazing.
I agree. Yeah. So be open to the journey. Stay curious about how this can enrich your life, your physical health, your mental health, and also your connection. Because I feel like since I've been on this journey, I've been more open to, just randomly going, can you have this deeper conversation? Or meeting up with other people and going, what about this? And how do you, just following my curiosity as well as my gut instinct. So I haven't gone baths are the answer all the time for everything. But I've gone, let me feel into this and see what happens. And then I've seen a Reiki specialist and a shaman and gone, let me see how this feels. What is my gut instinct going to tell me about this thing, right? Yeah,
the thing is as well is that the gongs are something like 6,000 years old. Tuning forks, you can see them in the hieroglyphs in ancient Egypt. All sounds, the oldest, as far as I'm aware, the oldest instrument for healing, which is what helped with mend bones, is a didgeridoo. So this is all ancient knowledge. This is nothing new. So this is innate knowledge, because that all come from somewhere. And it's lasted the test of time, hasn't it? Of people finding the usefulness of it. And if you understand what music does for you, I'm working with the melodies and the harmonics and the frequencies and the notes before you put it together in the structure of music. So all of those notes, all of that, those frequencies, whether they're Western or Eastern, the whatever musical notes or whatever structure, they have an effect on the body, so that's all you're going with. If you like music, you're going to like gong bars. I have a lot of creative people. It's amazing for youngsters as well. Focus.
Yeah, attention.
Absolute focus.
It just feels like magic is going on in your body without you needing to think it.
People have said it's magic. I sometimes call it gong magic. Gong magic meditation.
So people, explore some gong magic. Find Joe or somebody in your local area, because it can just provide you so much insight and clarity on your very next steps. Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. We'll be talking again soon, I'm sure.
That'd be good.
Thanks so much.
Anytime. You're welcome.